"Security, escort this woman out. She doesn't work here." Those words echoed through the marble lobby like a gunshot. The woman who spoke them was wearing a $3,000 Chanel suit and clutching a Louis Vuitton bag like it was a weapon. She didn't recognize me. Her own daughter. Standing in the building that bore my name. The security guard, Marcus, looked between us with confusion spreading across his face. He'd worked for me for 4 years. He knew exactly who I was. But my mother, Patricia Morrison, had no idea she was about to destroy herself in front of 47 employees. 7 years. That's how long it had been since I'd seen her face. 7 years since she looked me in the eyes and said the words that still burned in my memory like acid. But let me start from the beginning. I was 22 years old when my family decided I was worthless. Fresh out of college with a business degree and dreams bigger than the small Texas town we lived in. My older sister, Vanessa, had just announced her engagement to Bradley Whitmore III, heir to a regional banking fortune. Suddenly, I became invisible. "We need to talk about the wedding budget," my mother announced at dinner one evening. She was glowing with excitement, her eyes fixed on Vanessa like she was the second coming of Christ. "Your father and I have decided to use your college fund for the reception venue." I nearly choked on my water. My college fund? I already graduated. That money was supposed to help me start my business. My father, Richard Morrison, didn't even look up from his steak. "Brooke, let's be realistic. You're not entrepreneur material. Vanessa's wedding is an investment in this family's future. The Whitmores are connected. This marriage will open doors for all of us." "All of us?" I laughed bitterly. "You mean all of you?" Vanessa rolled her eyes, her diamond engagement ring catching the light. "Don't be dramatic, Brooke. You can start your little business later. My wedding only happens once." Little business. That's what they called my dream. I had spent 4 years developing a business plan for a consulting firm that would help small businesses navigate digital marketing. I had projections, market research, potential clients already interested. But to them, it was just Brooke's little hobby. "I saved that money too," I said quietly. "Grandma left me that inheritance specifically for my future. You can't just take it." My mother's face hardened. "Your grandmother is gone, Brooke. And while she was alive, she clearly didn't understand the importance of family unity. Vanessa's wedding will benefit everyone. Your little marketing idea can wait." "It's not just marketing. It's a full-service digital consulting firm. I have a 50-page business plan, enough." My father's voice cut through the room like a blade. "The decision is made. If you can't support your sister's happiness, maybe you should reconsider your place in this family." I stared at him, waiting for someone, anyone, to defend me. My mother examined her manicure. Vanessa smirked into her wine glass. The silence was deafening. "Fine," I said, standing up so fast my chair scraped against the hardwood floor. "If that's how you feel, then I'll remove myself from the equation entirely." "Brooke, don't be ridiculous," my mother started. "You made your choice crystal clear. Vanessa is the golden child. I'm just the backup daughter you keep around for appearances. Well, I'm done being your afterthought." I walked out that night with 2 suitcases and $847 in my checking account. My grandmother's inheritance, $75,000 that was supposed to be mine, had already been transferred to the wedding fund. I had nothing. No. That's not true. I had something they could never take from me, my determination to prove them wrong. The first 2 years were brutal. I moved to Austin with nothing but my degree and my business plan. I slept on a friend's desk couch for 3 months while working 2 jobs, waitressing during the day and freelance social media management at night. Every penny I didn't spend on rent or ramen went into a savings account labeled Revenge Fund. I know that sounds petty. But sometimes pettiness is the fuel that keeps you going when everything else fails. No. I landed my first real client by accident. The owner of a struggling barbecue restaurant sat at my table one night, complaining about how his competitor across the street was stealing all his business with their Instagram presence. I offered to help for free, just to build my portfolio. Within 3 months, his revenue had increased by 40%. He told everyone he knew. Word spread. By year 3, Morrison Digital Consulting had 7 employees and an office in downtown Austin. Yes, I kept my last name. I wanted to prove that a Morrison could build something without handouts, without connections, without the precious Whitmore family opening doors. By year 5, we had expanded to Houston and Dallas. I was featured in Austin Business Journal as one of the top entrepreneurs under 30. By year 7, Morrison Digital Consulting had become Morrison Enterprises, a full-service business consulting firm with 200 employees, offices in 5 states, and a client list that included 3 Fortune 500 companies. Our annual revenue had crossed $50 million. I had done it. Without them. Without a single dollar of support or a single word of encouragement. And they had no idea. I had deliberately stayed out of family-focused media. I used my first name, B. Morrison, in most press coverage. I declined interviews that wanted personal background stories. I kept my social media private. I wanted my success to speak for itself, not to become ammunition in family drama. But I always knew there would come a day when our paths would cross again. I just didn't expect it to happen like this. The morning my mother walked into Morrison Enterprises' flagship building in Austin, I was coming back from a client breakfast meeting. I had dressed down that day, jeans, a simple white blouse, minimal makeup. I looked nothing like the polished executives in their power suits hurrying through the lobby. I noticed her before she noticed me. She was standing at the reception desk, speaking in that haughty tone I remembered so well. Beside her was Vanessa, looking considerably less radiant than she had 7 years ago. The designer clothes were the same, but there was a tightness around her eyes, a tension in her jaw that suggested things weren't going as perfectly as planned. "We have an appointment with B. Morrison," my mother was saying to the receptionist, Jade, who was handling the situation with admirable professionalism. "We're potential investors. The Morrison Group is interested in a partnership." I nearly laughed out loud. The Morrison Group. My father's company. The same company that had been struggling for years because they refused to adapt to digital marketing, the very thing I had tried to tell them about 7 years ago. I had done my research. I knew the Morrison Group was hemorrhaging money. Their traditional advertising model was obsolete. They had lost 3 major clients in the past year alone. They needed help, the exact kind of help I specialized in providing. The irony was so thick I could taste it. I was about to approach the desk when my mother turned and spotted me standing near the elevator. Her eyes swept over me with that dismissive look I knew so well, the one that said you read beneath my notice. "Excuse me," she said, her voice dripping with condescension. "Do you work here? We've been waiting for 10 minutes. Someone needs to escort us to Mr. Morrison's office immediately." She didn't recognize me. Her own daughter. Standing 3 feet away from her. I had changed, of course. 7 years of building a business had transformed me. I was more confident, more composed. I carried myself differently. But still, a mother should know her own child. "Mr. Morrison?" I repeated, allowing a small smile to play at the corner of my lips. "Yes, being Morrison. The CEO. Don't tell me you don't even know who runs this company." She turned to Vanessa with an exasperated sigh. The quality of employees these days is appalling. Vanessa was staring at me with a strange expression. Something was flickering in her eyes, recognition trying to break through. "Mom," she said slowly, "doesn't she look like security?" my mother called out, cutting Vanessa off. She pointed directly at me. "Security, escort this woman out. She doesn't work here." Marcus, who had been standing near the entrance, walked over with a barely concealed grin on his face. "Ma'am, I'm going to need to see some identification from you." "From me?" My mother's voice rose an octave. "I'm Patricia Morrison. I'm here for a business meeting. This woman is clearly trespassing." "Actually," Marcus said, "I was talking to you. I need to verify your appointment." He turned to me. "Good morning, Ms. Morrison. How was your meeting?" The color drained from my mother's face. Slowly. Like watching a sunset in reverse. "Ms. Morrison," she whispered. I smiled and pointed to the massive letters etched into the wall behind the reception desk. Morrison Enterprises. And below it, in smaller but still prominent text, "Founded by Brooke Morrison, CEO." "Check the name on the building, Mother." Vanessa's hand flew to her mouth. My mother's Louis Vuitton bag slipped from her fingers and hit the marble floor with a thud that echoed through the suddenly silent lobby. "Brooke." My mother's voice cracked. That's impossible. You were supposed to, you couldn't possibly." "Couldn't possibly what?" I asked calmly. "Succeed? Build something? Become more than your afterthought daughter?" Every employee in the lobby had stopped what they were doing. Phones were forgotten. Conversations died mid-sentence. All eyes were on us. "This is a mistake," my mother said, her composure cracking further. "This can't be your company. You didn't have any money. You didn't have any connections. I didn't have your support," I finished for her. "You're right. I didn't. What I had was $847, a business plan you called a little hobby, and the determination to prove that I didn't need you or your precious Whitmore connections to succeed." Vanessa finally found her voice. "Brooke, we had no idea. Why didn't you tell us?" "Tell you?" I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "Tell the family that stole my inheritance for a wedding? Tell the parents who said I wasn't entrepreneur material? Tell the sister who called my dream a little business?" I shook my head. "You made it very clear that my success would be inconvenient for your narrative. So I built it without you." My mother was trembling now. "Brooke, sweetheart, we're family. We can explain everything. Your father, the Morrison Group, we need your help." And there it was. The real reason they were here. "I know exactly why you're here," I said. The Morrison Group is failing. You've lost $12 million in the past 2 years. Your biggest clients are jumping ship because you refuse to modernize. You need a digital consulting firm to save you, and you heard B. Morrison was the best in the state. I paused, letting the words sink in. You just didn't realize B. Morrison was the daughter you threw away. My mother's face cycled through emotions, shock, shame, and then something uglier. Calculation. Brooke, this is perfect. Don't you see? We're family. We can merge the companies. Morrison and Morrison, it's destiny. Destiny? I stepped closer to her, lowering my voice so only she and Vanessa could hear. Let me tell you about destiny, Mother. Destiny is sleeping on a friend's couch for 3 months because your family stole your future. Destiny is working 18-hour days while your sister posted photos from her honeymoon in Bali, a honeymoon paid for with my inheritance. Destiny is building a $50 million company from nothing while the people who were supposed to believe in me never even bothered to Google my name. Brooke, please, Vanessa started. How's Bradley, by the way? I asked sweetly. I heard the Whitmore fortune wasn't as solid as advertised. Gambling debts, wasn't it? And the divorce was finalized 6 months ago. Strange how no one mentioned the Whitmores opening doors for the family after all. Vanessa's face went white. How did you? I'm a business consultant, Vanessa. Information is my currency. I've known about every setback, every failure, every desperate attempt to keep up appearances. I just didn't care enough to interfere. My mother grabbed my arm. Brooke, you have to help us. Your father is devastated. He knows he made mistakes. We all do. But you can't just let the family business fail. I gently removed her hand from my arm. The family business? You mean the business that was too important to waste resources on my little hobby? The business that would have benefited from digital consulting 7 years ago if anyone had bothered to listen to me. We were wrong, my mother whispered. We were so wrong. Please, Brooke. I'm begging you. I looked at her, really looked at her. The woman who had dismissed my dreams. The woman who had chosen a wedding venue over her daughter's future. The woman who, 5 minutes ago, had tried to have me thrown out of my own building. Do you remember what you said to me the night I left? I asked quietly. When I told you that taking my inheritance was wrong. She shook her head, tears forming in her eyes. You said, if you can't support your family's decisions, then maybe you should handle your problems on your own. Those were your exact words. Handle your problems on your own. I straightened my shoulders and looked her directly in the eyes. So that's exactly what I did. And now, I'm going to give you the same advice you gave me. Handle your problems on your own. Brooke, please. Marcus, I called out, please escort these ladies out. They don't have an appointment. Marcus stepped forward with professional courtesy. Ma'am, if you'll come with me. My mother stood frozen, tears streaming down her face. Vanessa was staring at me like she was seeing me for the first time. Maybe she was. You can't do this, my mother said, her voice barely above a whisper. We're your family. No, I replied, my voice steady and clear. You're strangers who happen to share my DNA. My family is the team of 200 people who believed in me when you didn't. My family is the mentor who gave me my first chance. My family is everyone in this building who helped me build something you said was impossible. I turned and walked toward the elevator. Behind me, I could hear my mother's sobs, Vanessa's stunned silence, and Marcus's polite but firm instructions to leave the premises. As the elevator doors closed, I caught one last glimpse of my mother's face, the shock, the regret, the dawning realization that she had lost something she could never get back. The Morrison Group filed for bankruptcy 3 months later. My father had to sell their house, the house where I grew up, the house I was thrown out of, to cover their debts. My mother moved into a small apartment on the other side of town. Vanessa, without Bradley's money or our parents' support, got a job as an administrative assistant at a company that, ironically, was one of my clients. They tried to contact me several times. Emails, phone calls, letters. My father even showed up at the building once, but security turned him away. He stood outside for an hour, looking up at the Morrison Enterprises sign, before finally walking away. I watched from my office on the top floor. I won't pretend it didn't hurt. I won't pretend there wasn't a part of me that wanted to run downstairs and tell him everything was forgiven. But forgiveness isn't something you give to people who only want it because they need something from you. Forgiveness is earned through genuine remorse and changed behavior, not through desperation when the consequences of cruelty finally catch up. 6 months after that day in the lobby, I was featured on the cover of Forbes. The self-made millionaire who built an empire on rejection. The article told the whole story, the stolen inheritance, the family that didn't believe in me, the 7 years of silent success. My mother saw it. I know because she sent me one final letter. I read the article. I understand now why you could never forgive us. I don't expect you to change your mind. I just wanted you to know that not a day goes by that I don't regret what we did. You were never the afterthought daughter. We were the afterthought parents who didn't deserve you. I'm proud of you, Brooke. Even if I have no right to be. I read that letter 3 times. Then I put it in a drawer and closed it. Some wounds don't heal. Some bridges, once burned, can never be rebuilt. But that's okay. Because on the other side of that bridge, I built something better. Something stronger. Something entirely my own. Today, Morrison Enterprises has 500 employees and offices in 12 states. Last quarter, we crossed $100 million in annual revenue. I've been invited to speak at Harvard Business School about entrepreneurship and resilience. And every morning, when I walk through that marble lobby, past the reception desk where my mother demanded I be thrown out, I look up at those letters on the wall. Morrison Enterprises. Founded by Brooke Morrison, CEO. That name isn't a reminder of where I came from. It's a monument to where I went. On my own terms. By my own hand. Without anyone's permission. Because the best revenge isn't proving them wrong. It's building a life so successful that their opinion no longer matters at all.